20.
Behind you. Anyway, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Real Show. Entertainment, movies, sport, and all things life. A little bit of spice, all things nice, positivity, motivation, and a little funkiness. All from me, the host with the most, Mr. Ashif Ashik. You can follow me on Instagram if you like. If you don't like, then you know what can I do? Not everybody's a hater. Some people are positive. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. If you're going to bed, bonjour, salam, namaste, sasriyakal, and welcome. It's the second live stream, my second live stream ever. So thank you very much for all those who are tuning in now. And for anybody else who watches it at a later time, thank you for tuning in. A big thanks to all of you for tuning in last week. It was my first ever live stream at Yettis Kitchen on Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, and Clubhouse. Enough of that. A little bit later. So anyway, like I was saying, thanks a lot for joining in. If you've just joined in for the first time, hi, how you doing? My name's Ash. Hi, Mom. Hi, Daddy. Mommy, Daddy on TV. Well, it's kind of TV. But anyway, for those of you who don't know me, host with the most, bit of sports development, bit of education, bit of acting, bit of training, bit of boxing, bit of martial arts, a little bit whoa, a little bit away, a little bit of everything. Jack of all trade, master at quite a few as well. Bit difficult to describe myself in a short and simple way, purely because I have done many things and still continue to do as many things as I can in this crazy journey we call life, because who knows what's going to happen next. And obviously we've been in a pandemic, we've been in a lockdown, etc. So it's been quite difficult to stay positive and motivated. So hopefully this weekly dose of entertainment will cheer you up, make you laugh, maybe a little bit cringe, maybe a little bit funky. But you know what they say, I'm too cool for school, too hot to touch, too cold to hold. But you know what to do. Tune in to The Real Show. So last week I did have the TV in the background. Today I don't, purely because me and technology, we're a bit, you know, it's a love-hate relationship. So what I've done, little screen, and hopefully this will work. So if you've just joined in, or it's the first time, or it's your second time, every week, a little bit of entertainment news, a little bit of movie talk, a little bit of sports talk, a little bit of real life. And every week there's a little bit of a theme. So this week the theme is throwback or flashback to one of my favorite decades, the 80s. And we'll talk about that later on. But without further ado, on to the first part of my agenda this week, which is entertainment talk. So with the power of technology, I can bring images up and show you them. In an ideal world, you know, I'll have like a green screen and I'll be able to click, and, you know, it'll be behind me. But you know what? It'll be all right on the night. So, you know, I just got to make do. Also, guys, what do you think of my 80s inspired outfit? You know, the collars, the jumper, the big hair. I tried my best, but I'm having a bad hair week. Last week, it was dead curly. This week, it's ended up being straight. Bought some shampoo that's meant to lock the curls in. Well, it's not locked the curls in. No, why is it an earthquake? It's not an earthquake. I do apologize for that. I'm back. That was Close Encounter of the Feline Kind. Many apologies for that. Honestly, she's doing it by purpose. So anyway, without further ado, let's start first of all with my guilty pleasure. It is Trash TV Married at First Sight Australia. And I'm gonna start with these lot. Bloody screen's too bright again. What's going on? I need to sort the lighting out when I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Let's try again. Is it better? Yeah, that's a bit better. You can make out who it is. You know, if anybody would like to help me with a little bit of technology and all that kind of stuff, hey, there we go. We can see that. That's a bit better. So if anybody's been tuning in, I'm just going to bring it in a bit closer. This one right here, she's a meh. And quite frankly, I'm a bit disappointed in the experts in this season, because I don't feel like they're helping at all. Like, they know what she's getting up to. They know what, you know, what she is. Spoiler alert, she's not a nice person. And quite frankly, she's trying to get it on with next man who's already married. Quick one, I've been looking at this woman thinking, I know her from somewhere. I know her from somewhere. You know what? She's a doppelganger for Sheldon's girlfriend, Amy, in Big Bang. But I tell you what, the highlight for me this week was Mr. Bichara. Where is he? Billy and Susie. Now, if you've been watching Married at First Sight, Susie, in a nutshell, is an independent female. You know, she's got her own house. She's got acres of land. She's got the Rottweiler. She is a bit of a Rottweiler, to be honest. She really off, but you know, what can you do? But Bichara Billy was such a nice guy. Billy was one of those guys that, you know, when you see a couple in a relationship and the guy's like so nice and he'll do anything, the chocolates, the compliments, the flowers, the, you know, and she was just basically kicking his backside in. And I was just feeling really Bichara for Mr. Bichara Billy. You see how that, oh, she's behind me. It's like Aliens, which we'll talk about later on. But hi, you making an appearance? No, bye. Okay, but yeah, Mr. Bichara Billy. But you know what? There's only so much you can kick a man when he's down. And you know what? He started standing up for himself. But her friends were no better either. They were flipping agreeing with flipping Susie as well. They were like, it takes two to tango. And Billy was like, you know what? I've been tangoing on my own. That's a really bad impression because they're Australian, so it doesn't sound anything like them. But good on Billy. You know, Billy was a nice guy. And I think like she was just like, even her dad was like, yeah, she's a headache. And I mean, you know, if a girl's dad is saying that, then and you're a nice guy, well, you know what? Billy, Mr. Bichara, I salute you, pal. I hope you found love if you've not already found it. And if not, you know what? You're too cool for school. You can make it on your own. You don't need anybody to hold your hand. So just be a man. Moving swiftly on. My main man, Mr. Bojo. Okay. Well, anyway, Mr. Bojo, apparently, allegedly, he's going to lay out the groundwork for what the UK is going to look like coming out of this lockdown 3.0. It's starting to turn into a Bollywood movie, and once it starts, it never stops apart from the intermissions in between. But allegedly, schools are going to open from the 8th of March. I think it's good for schools to open. You know, kids are getting bored at home. Maybe teachers could do with going back into school. Is it a staggered start and all that kind of stuff? But again, it's a little bit bittersweet because once they try and get back into the routine of things, Easter's around the corner. So I don't know what would be better. Would it not be better to kind of like keep it mellow, have the Easter break, and then go back staggered start, and then, you know, see what happens with the hospitality trade that's been affected a lot and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's a tough one. You know, everybody's you know, faced tough times in the lockdown. You know, I think a lot of people have struggled more this one than the last one. It's not helped with the cold winter nights, the ice cold freezing, the snow, you know, the going dark early. Well, it started going dark a little bit later now. You know, last year we had the weather, the sun was out, gardening, walking and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just hope it's not too much too soon. Like last time, you know, it was the schools and then it was eat out to help out and then the numbers went up. you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. A lot of people have lost their lives. A lot of people are struggling financially. A lot of people have lost their businesses. But hopefully, like I said, communicate, talk with each other, network. The best thing you can do, worst case scenario, if you're feeling down, don't quit. Pick up the phone, talk to somebody, whether it's a friend, family, Samaritans, whatever, helpline. Don't be shy. We're all in this together. So, you know what? Bojo, do what you can, but try not to mess it up this time. Moving on, in other news, what else has been going on in the world? Well, I can tell you one thing for sure. I've been trying to, you know, keep up with the, trying to look smart and, you know, have a shave and all that kind of stuff. Still no barbers open. I know people are doing their own thing, but you know what? That's good for them. Back to another topic, trash TV. Don't know how well you can see it. Hope you can see it. It is celebs go dating in the mansion. Yeah, yippee. Look at celebrities in the mansion and they're all living together and they're going to go out with each other. Yippee. Yippee. You know what did I say? Did it start sounding? Yippee! It's Yippee from Rainbow. And it's what was the hippo called? I can't remember. Anyway, one thing was doing my head in, and I can't help it. I'm gonna put his picture up. It's my guy, Gary Lineker's brother. I don't know about you, but that picture, you know, it looks like he's wearing one of them false noses, you know, with the glasses, got the sunglasses there. Again, I know I said it last time, and I know I'm repeating myself, but this guy's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm still a young stallion. You're a bit all right. I fancy you. You're all right. I'll take you on a date. You know what I mean? And then some other birds come into the show, and he's like, oh, you're all right. Yeah, I've not fancied anybody yet. I've just been talking to her over there. But you know what? I fancy you. You're a bit all right. You're a Jaffa cake. And I want to take you out on a date. And it's going to be all right. And it's like, seriously, dude, this guy, I mean, he's got his, I don't know, I think he's got a club in Ibiza or whatever. And he does his own version of flipping, like, take me out, you know, no like it, no like it. He'll get all these birds lined up across the pool, and then whichever ones he don't like, he pushes them in, and then whichever one he does, he takes them out. But seriously, the guy's about 100 years old. Like, seriously, you know, he needs some medical attention. You know, because that when that blood pressure goes up at a bit of an older age, you know what I mean? But once it goes up, you know, it's a bit hard to come down. And then, yeah, anyway, that's another story for another. I'll tell you another one that's done my head in. Surprise entry. So I think RuPaul's Drag Race has started again, and you know, we all know what that show's about. It's the drag race, drag acts, the makeup, the hair, the performing, and all that kind of stuff. But they've got like a special judge now. And it's Gemma Collins. She's from Tawi or something. I'm not being funny, but what is your talent? That reminds me, quick public announcement. This show is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to have anything else other than some fun. So if I say something, it's not to offend anybody. I don't like offending people, and I hope you're not offended. Please don't be offended. Please don't mourn. Just enjoy it. If you like it, tune in. If you don't, tune out. But going back to Gemma Collins, I'm pretty sure that's what her name is. What is her talent? Because sometimes she's going out with RG, and then sometimes she isn't. Sometimes she's on the health flex. Sometimes she isn't. Sometimes she's all for female empowerment, then she isn't. Healthy lifestyle, not healthy lifestyle. I'm happy the way I am. I'm not happy the way I am. And this translates into a little bit of real life. So guys, listen, it's good to look at different things, social media stars, TV stars, and all that kind of stuff, but be happy with yourself. You know, do what's good for you. Don't overdo anything, whether it's a diet, exercise regime, binging box sets on Netflix, whatever it is, everything in moderation. Because if I see any more of Gemma Collins anywhere else, you know, you go to the shopping and she's there on the newspapers, she's there on the magazines, she's there on the adverts, there's a cardboard cutout of her, she's just bloody everywhere. And what is going on? I don't want to see her. And now she's on TV again. So yeah, kind of did my head in that. Anyway, moving on to sport talk. These two big boys, they're back on. Fury versus Joshua. It is on the cards. It is going to happen. Hopefully, we'll get an announcement soon. Who, what, why, when, how. But you know, Tyson Fury was spotted going into the icy cold waters for a quick swim, and quickly and swiftly social media experts and news reporters and all that were quick to comment on his physique, etc. You know what? If all boxing matches or in fight any fighting matches, UFC, anything like that, was one-off physiques, then yes, fantastic. But you know what? Maybe he's just having a bit of fun. Maybe he's not super OTT on his weight right now because, well, you know what? He knows what he's doing. He knows his body. He knows how quickly he can make weight, cut weight, and all that kind of stuff. So again, does he need to worry? Not really. I think, you know, he's been there. He's done it before. He can do it again. He knows what works. He knows what doesn't work. You know, hopefully we'll be out of a lockdown. Potentially we'll be able to watch it there in real life. Real show. You see what I did there? Real show. But yeah, I mean, you know, worst case scenario, box office, you know, it'll probably be available on all the box office outlets. So you know what, if you can watch it, great. I know I mentioned these two geezers last time, probably giving them a bit too much airtime, but Jake Paul, KSI, like I said, KSI, you know what, I don't see him jumping up and down as much as Jake Paul, but like Jake Paul said he's had enough of calling out KSI for a fight, but then like a day ago, KSI's just been like, you know what, I'll have Jake Paul a fight. And then Jake Paul's still calling out Conor McGregor. Like I said before, guys, I know, you know, a lot of young people watch these YouTubers, etc., and some of them aspire to be like him, and you know, that's maybe a topic we'll touch on later on. But YouTuber versus YouTuber, brilliant. YouTuber versus fighter, please stop. You're making a mockery of the sport, and you know what? What's it going to take? One of you to get hurt, and then you're going to start whinging and complaining, and then we have a lawsuit and all that kind of stuff. So you know what? Just leave it be. Movie news. Now, these days, you've got to be only Marvel or you've got to be only DC. And then if you like Marvel and you like DC, or well, you can't do that, guys. Like whatever you want. I like Marvel. I like DC. I am a bit of a comic book aficionado, or a comic book nerd, if you want to call it that. No offense. I'm saying I'm a comic book nerd, so I'm calling myself. So please, you know, I like Marvel. I like DC. But what I found in the last couple of years, last 5-10 years, is whenever something comes out DC, it gets bashed. Not too sure why. I know Marvel have absolutely smashed it with all the things they're doing. Most recently, like WandaVision, which, like I said, what happened on the episode this time? Vision tried to come out of the area, and what happened? He collapsed and he started dying, and then Wanda made the hex even bigger, and she's taken some of the people in with her. But the trailer will be releasing tomorrow, which is an important day. It is Justice League, the Snyder Cut. Believe it or not, this is going to be an epic 4-hour-long movie with an interval. I mean, I don't know. Is there some montages in there, or is, you know, Shah Rukh Khan going to come in there and start giving dinga, 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 dinga? Because you know what? That's as long as a Bollywood movie. But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. I don't know, you know, Justice League 4 hour, it's got all the bits cut out. It's got Black Suit Superman. It's potentially got Martian Manhunter. It's got an extra villain in there. We've got Darkseid in there. We've got the different version of Steppenwolf. So those of you who are into that, I think it's fantastic. For those of you who are like, well, I'm Marvel, you know what? Give it a go. We ain't got anything better to do. Watch it. If you enjoy it, brilliant. If you don't enjoy it, so what? At least it's something, you've watched something. What else did I want to talk about? Justice League. And yeah, before we move on, I'm just gonna stop for a second, because you know what, this lockdown has been kind of tough. This topic is a bit of a mashup topic, because it's coming of age, growing up, being an adult, all those different age ranges. And I think depending on what year you were born in, etc., like if you were an 80s baby and you grew up watching all that kind of stuff in the 80s, I think I'm showing my age here, but you know, I'm still young. It just looked like such a fun time. Like, I looked at all those classic movies, and I've got a little montage I'm going to hold up and show you guys, but it just looks so much fun. The clothes, the big hair, the sportswear, the Reebok pumps, the Nike Airs, you know, all the fun movie franchises, all the horror movie franchises, the action heroes, the comedies, the TV shows. It was just looked like such a fun time, and like technology was coming in there. Mobile phones were slowly coming in a little bit more, and they were getting a little bit smaller, because for those of you who can remember, once upon a time, your mobile phone was about this big, literally the size of a brick, and the battery was in a suitcase that you carried around with you. And you paid extra to have a car phone. Yeah, a phone in the car. Yeah, imagine that. And you know, just technology was slowly coming up, and we had an idea like, oh wow, when the future is going to be like this, and technology and da da da. And it just looked like such a fun time. And you know what, the 90s weren't too bad as well. But growing up, watching all that, and then having that expectation, then growing up, one thing you don't realize is the stuff that you really like and enjoy and want to do when you're younger, but you can only do them when you're older. By the time you're older, everything changes. Everything changes but you. I'm 1,000. Oh no, that's 90s, so we'll keep that for another day. But yeah, you know, things change, fashion changes, fashion comes back around, you know. So you know, the music, I think the music in the 80s were brilliant. I mean, literally all the movie soundtracks from the 80s are just awesome. But I'm going to play this little clip for you. I do not own the video clip. I'm going to mute the volume so nothing gets cut out, just in case wherever this ends up. But guys, just check this out. What a time to be alive. The 80s. Check this out, guys. Like literally, when I watched this clip, I could almost name every single movie in this clip. Like, look at that. I mean, just look at the fun they must have had. You had the RoboCop, you had Rocky 3, the Three Amigos, Boy George, Kevin Costner, TV shows, Back to the Future. What else did we have? Bruce Springsteen, Magnum, Top Gun, Freddie Mercury, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, actors in music videos, Mickey Rourke, Police Academy, Flashdance. What else did we have? All sorts, like, you know, people dancing in movie, music montages, training montages, Crocodile Dundee. What else did we have there? Come on, what else can we recognize? Big Hair, the Mullets, Lethal Weapon, what a movie. Legend with Tom Cruise, Beverly Hills Cop, Flashdance, The Running Man, Dirty Dancing. You know what? Staying Alive Part 2, Saturday Night Fever. You didn't just have Rocky 3, you had Rocky 4 as well. You had Rambo, you had Commando, you had Predator, you had Die Hard, you had Gremlins, you had Ghostbusters. It was just such a fantastic time, and the movies were fantastic. And you know what? Ones to watch. I know people binge on Netflix these days, but you know what? There are so many classic 80 movies you can watch and really enjoy and get that feel-good feeling and maybe motivate you or inspire you in these challenging times. One in particular, which you know, I think potentially, this is just my opinion. Every year 11, going into your final year of school, high school, I think like one of the first days back should be a fun day back when you go back in September after the long summer holidays. And I think one of the first things you should do is chill out and catch up with all your friends that you might or might not have seen and watch The Breakfast Club. What a fantastic coming of age movie. You know, you want to talk about themes that are so prevalent now, you know, your mental health, you're growing up, abuse, drugs, smoking, not fitting into a clique or a social circle or society, teachers being nasty, being embarrassed by what your parents do, growing up, drug paraphernalia. It's all in that movie. And you know what? I watched that movie, I think, when I was at college, and I was just like, oh, wow, why didn't I watch this movie sooner? So many good movies from that time period. I mean, you want to talk about action where men were, you know, a macho man, the muscles, the training, the body, the action. You know, you had your Bruce Willis Die Hard, your Mad Max, your Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson. You had Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. Rocky 4, what a fantastic movie. You had your Rambo. Then you had Schwarzenegger with Commando, Schwarzenegger with Predator. You know, you had your Staying Alive with John Travolta. You had your dance movies, Dirty Dancing, Footloose, Flashdance, Breaking 2. You had your comedy movies like your National Lampoon's Vacation. You had your Ghostbusters. What else did you have? You had your Gremlins and the horror movies. Wow, the horror franchises at that time, you know, like there was always something coming out. Nightmare on Elm Street, Hellraisers, Friday the 13th, Phantasm. There was so many horror franchises. It just seemed like movies were coming out boom, 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 one after another, and it was just such a fantastic time, I think, you know, to be part of you know, that time period. I always said if I was this age and I could pick a decade, it probably would be the 80s, because it just looked like such a fun period to be alive in. You know, the nightclubs, what else was that? The nightclubs, the bars, the clothes, the cars, and you know, just talking about all the other movie franchises as well. I mean, you want to talk about comedy, you know, there was always something coming out and there were always sequels. I mean, like nowadays, you know, the main movie sequel I can think of is Fast and Furious, and it's like, how much further are they going to take it? You know, cars jumping, cars flying. But you know what, back then you had your police academies, you had Star Trek one after another. I think in the 80s you had The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. You had the first Batman movie with the original Batman, Michael Keaton, who will be making an appearance in the new Flash movie. You had Beetlejuice, Mr. Mom, just some fantastic movies. RoboCop, you know, again, looking at all the technology and thinking in the future, wow, is that where we're going to be? You know, so many good movies. I mean, for me, Rocky IV had it all. It had, it was diverse. You know, it was at a time with the Cold War. It had music montages, the training, the robot, the cars, the cinematography, but not to forget of all, of course, one of the most classic movies, Scarface. What a movie! The way it was filmed, the soundtrack, the actors, the actresses. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer, woo, she looked amazing in that. Just, it was such a fun time. Like Highlander, you don't get movies like that anymore. And of course, one of the funny ones, Weird Science, which was a spin on like Frankenstein. If you've never watched that, it had the most beautiful Kelly LeBrock, not Kelly Brook from England, Kelly LeBrock. I think Kelly LeBrock was from England, actually, to be honest. But two young people, they decide to get together, and it's a little bit of a spin on Frankenstein, or should I say Frankenstein's monster, because believe it or not, guys, the monster, that's not Frankenstein. That's Frankenstein's monster. The doctor is Frankenstein. So get your facts right before you start calling me out on stuff, right? But yeah, Weird Science, you know, they attach a doll together with all the computers. There's a lightning storm. They feed all this information into computer, into their ideal woman, and then guess what? Boom, she appears and she can do mad things. But that was like, you know, one of them niche movies. I mean, it was probably a lot better watching it the first time. It probably is a little bit cringe watching it now, but you know what? It is what it is. But you know, you had your Gene Wilder movies, your Richard Pryor, you know, your Eddie Murphy, you know, like Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours. All these movies I'm naming, trust me, make a list. You've got to watch them. You know, the movies, the style, the cinematography. And you had a lot of B movies as well. So a lot of ninja movies, martial art movies. Jackie Chan didn't break into Hollywood by then, but he had a lot of movies out. All the China O'Brien movies, with Cynthia Rothrock. If you're into martial arts, one of the first girl power female, you know, high kicking. What else did we have? We had all sorts, you know, and you had them other one-off movies, them classics again, like Tango and Cash, Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, it was just a brilliant time to be out. And even with Bollywood as well, you know, not to forget Bollywood. Don't put Bollywood on the side. 80s were a big year. I mean, you had Kayamat Se, Kayamat Tak. You had so many, you know, with Bollywood, there's probably a million more movies that you can name. Because literally, I mean, growing up, like a lot of you will remember going to the video store, literally every week or a couple of times a week, there'd be a new Bollywood movie. You know, Hollywood, yeah, it was brilliant. Not to forget Kickboxer, which we'll come back to later on with my mate, Jean-Claude Van Damme. But yeah, what a time for Bollywood movies as well. Like, you know, Maine Pyar Kiya, you know, one of Salman's first hits. and what a movie. But you know, again, going back to what I was saying last week, Bollywood movies at that time, you know, they had a moral of the story. You could watch them with your friends, you could watch them with your family, and it was good fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was probably about 8 to 10 songs in a movie, and you know, you couldn't wait for the intermission, so you could quickly go for a wee and stuff. But what a time. And a couple of original type of movies, but there were a lot of Hollywood copies as well. I think Bollywood, there's always a couple of Hollywood copies, but we're at the halfway mark. So if you've just joined in, hi, it's me, your host, Ashif Ashik, with The Real Show, coming at you at Yettis Kitchen via Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, and Clubhouse. As usual, we had a little bit of entertainment talk, a little bit of movie talk, a little bit of sports talk, and now the theme for this week is the 80s, because sometimes, you know what, to have a good time, you got to go back to the beginning. And for me, going back to the beginning means going back to the 80s. It was a fantastic time. I mean, look at the cartoons at that time. You had your He-Man, your Thundercat, your I'll get you next time, Gadget, Inspector Gadget, Thundercats, ho! Dungeons and Dragons, Defenders of the Earth, Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, and the Masters of the Universe, which did get turned into a live-action movie, and Dolph Lundgren played He-Man. Ended up becoming a bit of a cult classic, but if you haven't watched it, I mean, if you're one of them die-hard action hero, you know, like all that type of genre, you love it. I mean, believe it or not, Dolph Lundgren was actually the first Marvel Punisher as well. Again, probably a movie a bit too ahead of its time, but yeah, I mean, talk about wrestling, the WWF. I mean, WCW was around at that time, and the birth of Hulkamania and the Macho Man Randy Savage and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. They were larger than life characters, and you know, you had the really big guys like the Tugboats. Yokozuna hadn't come in yet. But, you know, you had your Roddy Piper, your Paul Orndorff, and they were just larger than life characters. And I mean, even the first WrestleMania, you had Mr. T, you had, I think, you know, even Muhammad Ali was part of it. You had so many celebrities that were part of it. And even Michael Jackson, I'm pretty sure it was 80s. You know, you had the Michael Jackson's Moonwalker movie. Prince had his own movie. And as well, that one, what was that song, man? MJ. She said it with a kiss. No, it wasn't Liberian Girl. I always get mixed up, man. It does my head in, but I'm gonna bring it up. But there's an MJ song. I need a phone. I need a phone immediately. I need some technology, please. I need some technology. Give me the technology, man. I need the technology. Give me the technology, man. Come on, where's my assistant? I need some technology, man. I need a coffee as well. I need a coffee. Actually, can't go coffee at the moment. But, you know, it's one of them. I've got to get this MJ song up. Oh, man, it's not. Did you remember the time? No, that was the one with Eddie Murphy. Oh, it's going to do my head in. I've got to bring it up. Michael Jackson music video with... You know what? I've only got a couple of lyrics in my head of which song I'm going on about. Oh, yes. So check this out. I mean, just look at the time. Look at the camaraderie, yeah? So, I mean, even talking about bodybuilding, camaraderie then, there was so much more. You know, people did their own things, but they also used to train together and meet up at... you know, the Gold's Gym together and hang out on Venice Beach, California. And, you know, even in the gym, you'd see, you know, like Arnold at Gold's Gym, you'd see Hulk Hogan, you'd see the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, what a legend, the Ultimate Warrior, whose real name legally is Warrior. You know, rest in peace, Mr. Warrior. A guy who was so intense, too ahead of his time. But check the list of these actors that were in this movie music video with MJ. So, including Paula Abdul, Dan Aykroyd, Danny Glover, Steven Spielberg, John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, Macaulay Culkin, Lou Ferrigno, Steven Spielberg. I was close. I thought the song was Liberian Girl. It's not Liberian Girl. It is. Sorry, it wasn't Remember the Time. It was Liberian Girl. But I mean, what a music video. Imagine to get that many actors and actresses in one place. I mean, I remember the first time seeing this as I was a kid, and I was just like, wow, the amount of people that were in this video. I mean, like, wow. Again, I don't own the music, so Iman was in the music video as well. Guys, if you haven't seen this music video, please do watch it. It's a fantastic song, fantastic tune, fantastic lyrics. You know, one of the guys, so many people in this music video. You even have Paula Abdul, Bridget Nielsen. You had all the actors, the choreographers, Carl Weathers, who you guys will know from the new Star Wars Mandalorian series, but he was actually in Action Jackson, Rocky IV, and Predator. You had Whoopi Goldberg, Quincy Jones. You know that you came and you changed my world, just like in the movie. Two lovers in a scene, and she says to you to me, and she says, I love you, Liberian girl. But talking about girls, guys, it is a very important day tomorrow. If you didn't already know. Is it tomorrow? Research team, is it tomorrow? It is tomorrow. So it starts from tonight at midnight. Research team, you can have your technology back. Can have your technology back. Have it back. Have it back. Thanks a lot. Have it back, Jack. So tomorrow is Love is in the Air. Ding, 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 ding. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. You know, Valentine's, the boy and the girl and the girl and the boy, or the boy and the boy and the girl, or the who and the who and the what and the what and the why and the why and the auga, auga, a rocket going into space. Anyway, it's Valentine's Day. So, guys, box of chocolates, the look of love, the touch, the smell, whatever you're doing, have an amazing Valentine's Day, because it's Valentine's Day. Believe it or not, don't be sad if you don't get a Valentine's, if you don't get a card, if you don't get a text. Don't worry about it. Have the day to yourself. And you know what? If you're fortunate enough to have a Valentine's, or be with a partner, wife, girlfriend, fiance, or otherwise, fantastic. Have an amazing time. Don't break the bank. Don't break the toilet. Don't break the bed. That was a horn, by the way, nothing else. So please don't put any lawsuits on me. There you go. You can have one now. Sorry, I kind of lose myself at times. But yeah, guys, you know what? Believe it or not, even for myself, I'll be honest with you now. And now's the time when that's my little violin. Believe it or not, I've not had as many Valentines as you think I may have. I know a lot of people, a lot of viewers know me, and a lot of people know me, and they have an assumption, etc. But believe it or not, I have had very few Valentines. But you know what? That's okay. And I think, you know what? Valentine's is one of them things where a lot of emphasis is put on it. And it's one thing after another. The look of love is in the air. And I'm feeling hot and bothered. Hi, how are you doing? But no, honestly, there's a lot of pressure on there to impress, post your stuff on social media. You know, these grand gestures of love, etc. Guys, don't wait for one day in the year to show your love to whoever it is or whatever it is. You know, love yourself and you're a winner. Because you know what? You can have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a partner or a cat or a dog or a neighbor or whoever, the secretary. Sorry, zoned out. Sorry, I was thinking of a script there. But anyway, it all starts with you. And I know I'm saying this with a grin. I'm in a bit of a good mood. But honestly, if you start with you, like yourself, love yourself, look after yourself, positive mindset and everything, you know what? You'll give that vibe off, and automatically, you know what? Somebody will be there for you, whether it's a friend, family, relationship, friendship, whatever it is. And you know what? Don't be too hard on yourself, because I mean, you know, another thing that's on TV at the moment is like this, you know, first date teens, whatever it is. Is it first date? Is it first date teens? First date teenagers having their first dates in the restaurant and all that kind of stuff. And I think, again, talking to about young people, again, a lot of pressure, peer pressure, social media, TV, how it looks to other people and all that kind of stuff. Guys, don't be having any pressure, anxiety, or stress about not being in a relationship, not having a relationship, not having enough experience or whatever, all that kind of stuff. The best relationship you can have, and this goes for adults as well, is with yourself. Whether that's looking good, feeling good, you know, like grooming yourself, dressing well. I think a lot of people at the moment, you know, because we're in the lockdown, they're struggling, etc. And it's like, well, you know, I'll just stay in my trackies all day or whatever. And you know what? It can feel like that sometimes. Like, what's the point? I'm stuck at home. I only go to the shop. Trust me, you know what? Style your hair the way you want to style it. Dye it the way you want to dye it. Oil it, condition it, look after it. Try that new look that you've never tried before. Grow it out if you want to grow it out. DIY home haircut if you want. Organize your outfits. Dress good. Feel good. Eat good. Don't sabotage yourself too much with the junk food and all that kind of stuff. And you know what? Just feel amazing. I mean, again, looking at the movies in the 80s, you know, everything kind of worked out okay. You know, the good guy got the girl, they won in the end, they got together, all that kind of stuff. And I mean, times are different, but just because times are different and people are different, that doesn't mean you need to be different. But you got to do your own thing. You got to be an original, because if you're going to do what everybody else does, then, well, what's the point? And there's a point for me to say that. But going back to TV in the 80s, there was a program called The Wonder Years. It was about a kid growing up. And you could say essentially our equivalent now is the Goldbergs. And in between, say, the Goldbergs and the Wonder Years, you had Boy Meets World. But check those TV shows out. But a lot of classic 80s programs where, in hindsight, if you look at it, they touched on the topics like stress, midlife crisis, coming of age, anxiety, relationships, depression. But they did it in a really light-hearted way, because that time, you know what, I'm going to tell it how it is. I'm going to keep it real, because it is the real show. People could take a joke. People didn't take as much offense, and things were light-hearted, you know, whether that was joking about an observation, joking about a situation. But it was one of those things. If you didn't like it, you didn't tune in. You didn't complain. You didn't say, it's making me feel this, it's making me feel that. I mean, it's great that we talk to each other about how we feel. But at the same time, it's like, I'll give you an example. Lethal Weapon with Mel Gibson, one of my, you know, it's in my top 20 movies of the 80s and growing up and all that kind of stuff. But if you look back, the character he portrayed of Riggs, that is some serious underlying issues there that took 4 movies for him to address. The serious mental health issues. And you know what? He even says it in one scene, because Danny Glover, who plays Murtaugh, literally gives him a gun and says, you know, if you're crazy, you want to kill yourself here. And then he's putting the gun to his head or whatever. And he's like, nah, put it in your mouth. So it blows your brains out. And, you know, Martin Riggs, the character that Mel Gibson plays, he does put it in his mouth and he nearly pulls the trigger. And, you know, Danny Glover stops him and he's like, whoa, you really are crazy. And that was the stress. And he even says, The only thing that keeps him going is the job. You know, it's the job. Like, how sad is that? And he keeps a special bullet, I think it's a hollow point, so that if he ever does, you know, take his own life, you know, he'll make sure he'll do the job proper. Now, back then, we looked at people that were really stressed like that, maybe in a movie, maybe in real life, as they're just crazy. And you know what? They just work hard, they'd get on with it, and they'd come out the other side. And a lot of people didn't talk about their issues or what was going on. But you know what? Times are different. What works, works. You know, what works for one person doesn't work for another. And it's brilliant. We've got all this stuff about mental health. And if you need it, definitely reach out and talk to somebody. And you know what? If you're old school and you can, you know, grit your teeth and push through it, then you use whatever method works for you. Like I always say, there's more than one way to cook an egg. You know, so, you know, just do what you need to do. But a pet peeve of mine is, well, it's not, is it a pet peeve? I suppose it is. Big Bang Theory. You know, when you talk about like relationships and growing up, and some people have a childhood sweetheart, or they have somebody they went to school with, or high school with, or college with, or whatever, and they're going to marry him and all that. I mean, that thing still does sort of happen. I know a friend, and they're two high school sweethearts, and, you know, God bless them, they're still together, they got kids, they work hard, and they look so happy when they're together. And you know what, it might not be plain sailing all the time, because it never is for anybody, but you know, you stick to it. What does my head in about Big Bang Theory is essentially, Leonard is a nice guy, he's an intelligent guy, he's a scientist, he's got a good job, etc. And because there's a fit neighbor in Penny, he just goes, he's just besotted with her, it's infatuation, and he just, no matter what, goes after her. And I mean, in the time that they're together over the series, you know, she's slept with Krutapali, she's had a million boyfriends, they broke up, they made up, they broke up, they made up, they broke up, they made up. And I feel like that was a bit of a play on Friends with like Ross and Rachel, break up, make up, break up, break up, break up, make up, break up, make up, break up, make up, break up, make up. Sorry, I thought I was buffering there. But guys, don't do that. I know it can be a lonely time, Valentine's, but don't go back. You gotta move forward, because to get to the future, you gotta go back to the future. To get back to the future. See if I get there. But yeah, how we doing? I've had some nice comments. I've had some negative comments. I thought I'd keep the little goatee, like 80s and the 80s hairstyle. I don't think it's quite worked. I think I need to condition my head and hair a little bit more, but I thought I'd kind of get like that Buffon quiff going on. Some fantastic feedback from people. Some people asking me they don't really get what the show's all about. Why am I doing it? Guys, you know what? There's no live shows. I've managed to get this live stream going with at Yettis Kitchen. Give it a follow and like on YouTube and Instagram and all those social media platforms. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. The more the merrier. You know, I'm just doing my thing. You know, don't hate the player, don't hate the game. Just a bit of hard work and hustle. And you know what? I'm one of them that I kind of avoid technology. I've done so many live events and hosted so many live events and fashion shows and things with Tony and Guy and Debenhams and the Asian Lifestyle Expo at Trafford Centre and all these kind of things. But and my work's always spoke for itself, and I've kind of always got a bit more work. But we live in the day and age of social media, so you know what? You gotta utilize it. But we're into the last 10-11 minutes of the show, so thank you if you've joined in. Thank you again if you are watching this at a later time. Guys, please like, share, subscribe at Yettis Kitchen, at Ashif.Ashik. If you have got any requests, questions, or something specific you'd like me to talk about, because I like to talk about everything, all things, keeping it real, a little bit of life, a little bit of entertainment, and I try and keep that positive vibe, because you know what, life is a big challenge. Hopefully, you know, we'll all make it to that old age healthy and still able to walk and talk and walk the talk and talk the walk and all that kind of stuff. But you know what, we're living in crazy, unprecedented times that we'd never thought we'd see in our lifetime. Yeah, here we are, lockdown, COVID, coronavirus, etc. You know, we've got a vaccine. Do we take it? Do we not take it? People are being invited to take it. About 10 to 15 million people vaccinated so far. Maybe there'll be COVID passports. you know, all this kind of stuff. You know, it's easy to stress and worry, and it's very easy to say not to stress and not to worry. But the best thing you can do now, however you're struggling, whether you're struggling with mental health, whether you're struggling financially, whether you're struggling with just day to day, waking up, going to sleep, guys, just work on yourself. Whether that's training, whether that's exercise, whether that's fitness, whether that's listening to a podcast, whether that's watching this show, whether that's watching those 80s movies that I mentioned, whether it's binging on some type of social media networking stream, box sets, talking to somebody. Guys, communicate and work on yourself. It's as simple as that. You know, it's about mindset, and it's about how you look at a situation. You can look at it like nothing's working out, or you can look at it like, you know what, I've got X amount of time. Excuse me, there was a hiccup there. I've got X amount of time. You might have a little bit more free time than usual, or you might be working loads via, you know, social media platforms, Zoom or anything like that. Guys, just do what you can. You know, stay happy, stay healthy, reach out if you need to. Guys, for health, mental health, training and all that kind of stuff, you know, I am just a message away. For those of you who have got my contact details, you know, you can pretty much contact me at any time. If you haven't, you've got my social media handles, which some of you do reach out and chat to me. But I think like next week's show is going to be still a little bit of entertainment, a little bit of sports, a little bit of movies. And next week's show is going to be about my faves, my suggestions to you guys. So the favorite movies, music albums, books, TV shows. I would love to have like a fantastic background and make it look funky and have a screen and have like a clicker where I just click. And because some people, the comment I got was, it looks a bit boring, it's just you on screen. But then again, like the only difference between this and like a live stream is sometimes the microphone is in the shot and it's like at an angle like that, and it's like, hey, thanks for tuning into my podcast, and you know, just like, share and subscribe, and just ignore the gray hairs, but hey, welcome to the real show. Any suggestions on how you'd like me to set this up or frame it, etc., please give me the suggestions. Equipment, tripods, mics. I've gone through about 20 million pieces of equipment this week, trying different things, breaking different things, even breaking a phone in the process, which wasn't fun. Just one moment, a little break. It's not really a little break. Throat's got a bit dry. H2O to help you go. But yeah, guys and girls, last 8 minutes of the show. Thank you for tuning in if you've been tuning in. And if you're going to tune in next week, please do so. Please like, share, subscribe. Also, a big thank you to everybody who watched the show. I've had many messages from close friends, from acquaintances, a lot of feedback, a lot of it quite positive and constructive, a little bit of hate. But guys, seriously, you know, I'm just a boy chasing his dreams and all that kind of stuff. Guys, it's a live stream. It's here for fun. It's here for entertainment. It's not here to upset or offend anybody. And you know what? We all do. We spend hours on YouTube watching random videos, podcasts. So hey, why not help, follow, and what's the word? Not motivate, support. Give us a bit of support. You never know what we might be doing tomorrow. We might be here tomorrow. We might not. You know, we here. Some of us are here today, gone tomorrow. But not to finish the show on a downer, because we're down to the last 6 minutes. And the last 2 minutes, I am gonna finish off with the way I finished off the last show. But guys, please, if you haven't watched the first episode, please go over to YouTube, search in the search bar Yettis Kitchen, and you will see the first episode of the real show. This was the second show. Last week I gave a little bit of everything, and I was a lot more crazy. This week's been a challenging week, mentally, physically, emotionally, and of course tomorrow is going to be a challenge. Dilbar, Valentine. Who's going to send me a Valentine? Who won't? Am I going to get a Valentine? Am I not going to get a Valentine? It's hard to say, you know, but 12 o'clock, see what happens. Will, you know, my magic godfather come down and tell me that here, easy wizzy, let's get busy. There's your Valentine's, or will he say, put it in the something? But Auga. But I'm proper lost the plot this time. But yeah, Snyder Cut, Justice League, One Division. But like I said, guys, definitely make a list. Ones to watch, 80s movies. You know, you've got your Lethal Weapon, your action movies, your Lethal Weapon, your Die Hard, your Commando, your Predator, your Rambo, Cobra. You know, funny movies, National Lampoons, Weird Science, Police Academy, another 48 Hours, Beverly Hills Cop. You know, you had your like, not horror, but like sciencey type movies. So things like your Ghostbusters, your Gremlins, your Short Circuit, your Batteries Not Included, Cocoon, which is full of old people, but it's still kind of a cute movie. E.T., what else did you have? You had your fight movies, your Best of the Best, your Karate Kid 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 4, all the Chuck Norris movies. What else did you have? There was just so many movies. Nightmare on Elm Street, everything that I've mentioned before. Trust me, check it out. RoboCop. You know, it was just such a fun time. The music, the hair, the clothes. You know, I loved it. If I could be this age and going to any decade, it would be that. It just looked like such a fun time to be alive. You know, happy-go-lucky, the TV shows. Oh, wow, man. It just, you know, surprisingly, I remember a lot from the 80s. You know, growing up, the A-Team. So many classic shows at that time period. And it just looked like so much fun. But you know what? It is what it is. Can look back, have a good time, have a laugh, etc. But like I said, next week, it's going to be the real show with Ashif Ashik. It's going to be entertainment, movies, music, TV, giving the head a wobble. I know we didn't talk that much Bollywood this time, but we'll talk a little bit more Bollywood next time. But you know what? Like I said, it's going to be my favorites. I'm going to share my favorites with you. You know, ones to watch. Fantastic music, movies, all that kind of stuff. But like I said, if you don't like that, you want to see something different, you want me to talk about something else. To be honest, quite a lot of people have asked me to talk more real, as in REAL, like real life motivation, mindsets, training, etc. And I was thinking of keeping that for live stream at the end of the month. So we'll see what happens. But to play us out, I'm gonna play one of many funny videos from the 80s. And you know what? I've just checked and it's not downloaded. I need technology quick time. It didn't download. I put it for download and it didn't. So to play us out, this is from a hit movie. A fantastic scene, and if you've not watched this movie, please do watch it. It stars none other than Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it's a scene when he's in a bar and he's getting drunk, and it's part of his training. And I mean, just look at that. I mean, look at the outfit. His vest has got suspenders on. Just look at that. So we're going to finish with a little bit of singing and a little bit of dancing, just like we do every week. It's just a bit of fun. So how does it go? Oh, yeah. Gonna be a bad day. If you've not seen this movie, watch it. It's a fantastic scene, fantastic movie. Happy Valentine's, yeah. Happy Valentine's. If you got a girl, take her out. No lighting, no lighting. Have some fun. Go for a run. Positive vibes. Love you all. See you all next week on another episode of Yeah Real Show.